All right, yeah, hey, go ahead and cop yours. You see the new one we got there, what we need to know, in the stores now. So we're gonna get right into the story. Now this is to be done a little bit tongue in cheek because I will refuse this if offered to me, unless ordered by the president or the vice president. Then that way I, will have to be forced to do it. Congress, I would negotiate. But if I was to take the directorship of the UAP review board, I would need some executive powers from the executive branch, powers from the congressional branch, because, like I said, all right, tongue in cheek, this ain't me. I'm not doing it. But this is kind of the kind of person you want to do it, or the things you want them to think about, all right? My superpower, if I had to say I have one, is I know when I'm being lied to. I may not know what you're lying about, but I know when I'm being lied to. And that's going to be super important when you do this job. That, and I'm willing to be the bad guy in a situation, meaning I don't have to have everyone like me all the time. If I think I'm doing things the right way, I'm okay with people, especially when they're, trying to get over or be greedy in a way, being angry with me. That's no problem to me at all. But to do this job, I'm gonna need two committees working with me to kind of, regardless of what is stated in there in the amendment from Chuck Schumer, to help kind of, I need people smarter than me. So on the committee, I called them my working committee and advisor committee. So the working committee, I'm gonna go through some of the names, you see them on the thumbnail, but I didn't put anybody from the advisor committee. And it can also, the advisor committee can more rotate as we see fit. So let's start in no particular order. Neil deGrasse Tyson, known skeptic about this issue, but a very smart guy, astrophysicist. And if he comes into the room, like if any of these people we talk about it, when they start to come in, with that look in their eye, like look it up, like you see them, you will be like, okay, 100% we know what we're dealing with. And that's the whole reason why. So some of these people, everybody I think are media people, but some are not as well versed in the hard sciences as others. But I think with a wide variety of view, the information would get out in a way, disseminated in a way that everyone can understand. So that's kind of why you see my choices. So let's get into it. So I said Neil deGrasse, then we have someone else like Eric Weinstein. Eric, if I'm not mistaken, is a mathematician, smart guy, can help explain some of these things, understand it, to make sure there's no questions that people can have about this. Along those same lines, I'm thinking about Kurt Jaimungal, who has a YouTube channel, Theories of Everything, where I think he's trained as a theoretical physicist and mathematician, but he likes to break things down to the minute detail, which will be very important so everybody can have a complete understanding. Also looking at to have kind of from more media standpoint, someone who is a skeptic as well as someone who is more of a, mine is a little bit more open, I would say. So Brianna Joy Gray from The Rising can be there in terms of helping to disseminate the message, but also, someone that you got to convince. But Crystal Ball of Breaking Point, see, I know Sager, I'm butchering this now, I apologize, is more of a believer, quote unquote, or a fan, but he get a little weaselly about some of his decisions at times, and instead of having a backbone and backing things. So no, but Crystal's a skeptic. So you can see her there with that shock look in her face, or all of us with gray hair after a while, that we're seeing what we're seeing. Now, this other guy could be seen as a monster by some people, but none of us are angels. So we have Alex Jones, who knows probably more about this than anybody, and Hassan Piker. Now Hassan is not a believer, is a bit of a hard-headed skeptic, some would say. His brother actually is an aerospace mechanical engineer, if I'm not mistaken, for Boeing. So in the family, they have some understanding. But if you see him on stage, sitting next to Alex, both looking like, then you know what we're talking about. For my advisor committee, I will look to grab some very distinguished individuals, no particular order. George Knapp, one of the probably most knowledgeable individuals about this. Oh, I'm missing somebody. Let me go back. Sorry. Another person who would have been my advisor committee, but I'm gonna put him on a working committee is Jeremy Corbell, because everybody know Jeremy. And that's everybody. Yes. Advisor committee: George Knapp, Ross Coulthart, Jacques Vallée, Dr. Eric Davis, Dr. Hal Putoff, Dr. Salvatore Paez, Dr. Stephen Greer. Those would be the individuals that I initially pull in to kind of help advise the working committee. Now, what we do as the working committee? Well, one of our first acts would be putting together a team of individuals and a collective where we have what's called door kickers, individuals. We would have tier 1 individuals from either the combat action group known as Delta Force, or Dev Group, developmental group known as SEAL Team 6, the information support activities, the ISA, SOAR, the airborne, when you get people from airborne tier 1, people from the CIA ground branch and other services, to have a team in place to where we can go anywhere and get in any place and broadcast from anywhere in any place. And we would start hitting these facilities up with alleged activity. And that's one thing I said before that I would take back. I would not wait until I learned how to fly one of these vehicles or flew on stage to show you. As soon as I find out. And that's why I think it wouldn't even take me, so we'll get to that in a second. But we would let the people know as quick as possible and with no delay. Now, granted, look, let's be real. So I wouldn't do it, but this is the type of person you need to do it, who I think would be ideal. A person who is fair, who is not afraid to anger other people, and will stop at nothing to get the job done, even if they have to upset a lot of people over that, because that's what probably is going to happen. If you go into this thinking you're going to make everybody happy, you failed already. So some things may meet the criteria of national security. Now I've been for days trying to think, what specifically can constitute something that we would not tell the public in this? And I'm like, look, what? They're coming to invade us in a couple of months or years. No, everyone should know that so they can get prepared. We think it's angels and demons. That's fine. Let people know. There's almost nothing. Not to say that it ain't. So maybe there's something that I may find that I feel, hey, does meet this criteria. But until that point, we can disclose a lot to the public. But if there's something that, truly if something could cause damage to other people or be used in a way, then yes, we would find a way for the American government to protect that information in a way that's safe. But with all of that said, you need someone who is going to go in there and be willing to punch people in their face when they start to say that's need to know, or we can't get popped in the jaw, and after a while people will stop saying that. So yeah, I don't know much more to say more than that. So let's have some fun with it. This was my thoughts on this. I love you. You love you. God loves us. And that's all that matters.